Good morning, everybody. Actually, by the time you guys be watching this, it'll be the afternoon. But it is Saturday, and I'm hard at work here at my local dive bar. And first and foremost, thank you, everybody, for all of the likes and all of the subscriptions and sharing it out. It's been helping out greatly. Now, I'm going to be doing... Today I'm going to be doing my normal video, and then I will be doing my time-elapse video, and then what I'll be able to do is I'll do another time-lapse video that I will then debut tomorrow. I'm going away this weekend, or I should say Saturday through Monday I'm going away. So I will not be doing my normal commentary video on Sunday because we'll be on vacation. So all you'll get is the usual time-lapse videos. Now, thank you to everybody who's watching these time-lapse videos. I enjoy doing the time-lapse videos. One thing that's been very surprising to me, though, is my time-lapse videos of doing the mouth-teeth monster and the one I did of Jazz, they haven't been getting a whole lot of views. Whereas the ones that I've been doing with just putting in these flat blacks, like this one here, like I did, this was broken into two. One was the top part and one was the bottom part. The bottom part, when I posted it yesterday, and it's over like 300 views. I was very surprised. Whereas like this one here only has maybe like 32 to 62 views. So I'm really surprised. But moving forward, we're going to be having more of the videos be time-lapsed of the creatures inside the pages. So today I'm going to be starting here. You can see where I've already started. I'm going to be working on the fist of Crimstone. So, and this week, the beginning of this week was all a buzz. It kind of started on Saturday or Sunday of last week, but really where a lot of people really started in the commentary was beginning of this week, and that was what Marvel has done with the Punisher. And for me, it's one of those where it's like I'm not reading Marvel comics anymore, so I don't really care all that much. But over the course of this week, I watched the first three movies of the John Wick trilogy. They were available on Tubi, of all places. So I was like, okay, everybody's loving these movies. Let's try them out. And they are high octane action, violent movies. And it's like, oh my God, these are like the action movies of the 80s and 90s that we love so much. This is so cool. Which really, I thought about it, how these movies are doing so well. And Hollywood is such a copycat industry. If you take a look how, like, once Marvel was doing their movies, all the others like, oh, remember, Universal's, we got to do one of the Universal monster movies of all the monster creatures, and their attempt blew up in their faces. DC's been trying to do it, and it's been blowing up in their faces. And here, I look at it this way. Okay, the John Wick films, because the special effects are relatively low. When I say special effects, I mean digital special effects. I don't mean the special effects of people doing stunt work and all. There's a lot of that. But again, I was looking at it, and because this industry is a copycat industry, if I am a studio and I'm seeing that John Wick is doing so well, it comes down to, okay, we need our John Wick. Remember when Lost made it so big? All the other networks were saying, we need our own Lost. We need our own Lost. And like, NBC, they did one called Surface, and that one didn't do well. I remember one, CBS tried a couple, but the only one that really like we did like, oh, we need our own, Lost, which really wasn't Lost, was, remember Supernatural, was very low budget, but it did well. I mean, it did well. Did 13 seasons or so? So for me, it comes down to is that because this is a copycat industry, if you have a moneymaker like John Wick, think about it. That's exactly what The Punisher is. It's a John Wick story. And with what they did to The Punisher, first and foremost, the whole thing where the wife comes back, I was going to divorce you, I just liquidated all your funds, all your resources, you got nothing. And then she kills him. Or supposedly kills him. He's in limbo or some bullshit like that. I kind of looked at him and I was like, do you guys not see how, as a movie studio, you are completely shooting yourselves in the foot? Because the success of John Wick and the Mission Impossible films and that Reacher TV show, it's showing that there is an audience for that. And that's exactly what The Punisher was. You didn't need to have The Punisher be buddy-buddy with Captain America. You didn't need to have him teaming up with the Falcon or the Winter Soldier. He was his own entity, which is he was a bad guy who fought bad guys that were worse than him. And by doing what you did to shelve him, really I look at this as you're abusing your properties and your IPs. As one person even pointed out, the thing is that was even more mind-boggling and stupid of them is that the Punisher was actually created by John Romita. And what makes that, again, so mind-boggling and how stupid you are is that because he was a staff artist at Marvel, when he created that character, Marvel has sole rights to that character. They don't have to pay any royalties. It has nothing to do with his passing away. Okay? He was a staff artist when he created him. So you really think about it, those are the characters they really need if they don't want to pay royalties out to these creators or worry about going to court for these creators to get the rights or to get a monetization or compensation for these characters. There's the characters you want to utilize. You want to maximize the possibility of stories and merchandising. But getting back to my point is, you had a character that's as high octane as John Wick or the Mission Impossible movies, where he's just a regular guy and he's going up against so many overwhelming odds and succeeding. And it all comes down to them being, oh, these people, military, police, they like the symbol. Because what's the symbol about? Taking down the bad guys. We can't have that. And I just look at it and when it's like, do you not realize that you have a property that is on par to compete with the John Wick audience and get some of that market share? But they'd rather destroy their character, destroy their IP, because he's not aligned with a minority who are against it. And that's where it gets me, is where it's like, you're in the business to make money, and you're going to do this. That's what I find so stupid about what they're doing. And for me, I've already thought, I mean, if they were to say, okay, you can have Punisher, first thing I do is like get him out of hell, get out of limbo, whatever, like bring him back. Okay, his wife took everything away from him. He's still the Punisher. He's going to go back to exactly what he's doing, which means if he gets to start out right off the bat with taking down a drug dealer to get his guns and knives, and then from there he takes out a bigger drug dealer, then he's the type of character that if he has nothing, he's still, the mission for him still goes on. So I find it where you still have the ability to do this character if you choose to. But with what they're doing, they would rather leave money on the table than utilize the financial potential of the Punisher. Because he is a moneymaker. But because Marvel and Disney are doing what they're doing, I'm kind of glad that they have done it. Because it could have been 10 times worse. What if they had the Punisher where they go make him full woke SJW, and now he's only going after the police, and he's only going after the military, and he's going to these rallies to beat up the opposition of these activists who are fighting for transgenderism and that type of stuff. That would be more insulting, I think, than what they did to him. Because having them where they resurrect his wife and how she was going to leave him, and this, that, and the other thing, that I look at him like, that still doesn't, he's still giving me the same gun-toting badass he's always been. He's never been one to, if anything, you can use that for him to now get over his wife and move on with his life with his mission of destroying the mob and drug dealers and so forth. This whole stuff about his wife doesn't change. For me, it doesn't really change who he is. He's still, the actions that were taken against his wife still resulted, and his children still resulted in his mission of a one-man army against crime. So, which also, another thing also at the end of this week, and I remember, this was definitely last weekend. I remember, it was like last Saturday when they first were doing that comics broke me hashtag. And I looked at it, once I had some more information about it, I still hold by my statement, which was comics broke me with their piss poor storytelling and their abysmal artwork. And then I found crowdfunding in Comicsgate, and the love of comics had come back, and it's made me even more of a comic book fan now, because I know where my money's going to. I know that I have a much even more choice because of wanting to support the creator and knowing that this is going to the creator, as opposed to getting your fix to a company that really doesn't care about you. These creators do care about you. And a lot of these Comicsgate creators, you do have your handful that this is what they do for a living. The majority of these creators, though, are just like me. They love comic books. They want to produce a comic book, and they would not be able to do this full time because it doesn't pay. It's reached the point that if you can produce a good quality product and you can let people know about it, you can succeed. I think about Joe Sontag with his Reaper Destroyer. You think about it, he is just like me. He works a 9-to-5 job. He puts the time in to create a channel to entertain people with his love of 90s comics, specifically Image and Top Cow and Wildstorm. I would like to see him branching out more, especially with these days where you can buy trade paperbacks relatively inexpensively. I'd like to see him and Sean start going out and investigating and discovering some of the other books that were done before the Image era and after the Image era. to really broaden their show. But still, you look at it, they did that specifically to create an audience to launch their books and their campaigns. And they're just like me. They have a regular job that pays the bills, and they're doing their own crowdfunding, and they're starting to succeed. And that's what we want. Comics broke me isn't the industry broke you. Okay? With the information being provided to us now, the industry has always been broken. It's just that now it's been finally catching up, that people are wising up to how broken the industry is, and they don't want to support this crap being put out by Marvel and DC, but they still love comic books, they still love good storytelling, they still love awesome artwork. And that's where Joe Sontag, Sean Arnett, myself, the Diaz brothers, who, remember the Diaz brothers, they did their Lost Pages, and that's what this is. This is an art contest submission for their latest campaign, Lost Pages 3. And right now I'm working on Crimson. I'm working on his fist here. Really working on getting it done so you can get the veins in his hands so that they really pop. That was one of those things that really came out of the Image era, was doing these veins and getting the veins where they're really flexing to cause these veins to pop. So I'm working on that. You can see where I've got it started. And the way I'm getting this done with this almost like spray paint feel and effect of creating the image is, instead of inking like this, okay, which is how people traditionally ink, I'm flipping the nib over and using the back side of the nib. And because it's the back side of the nib, okay, smaller amount of ink comes out. Plus also, what I'm doing is I'm using a thick ink. When I say a thick ink, I mean not that I buy the ink and it's already thick. I mean when you buy an inkwell, okay, and you first start using it, it's a thin ink. And it flows through the nib smoothly. But as you get to the bottom, it gets thicker and thicker. This is the ink that comes from the bottom of the inkwell. Okay, so you can see how I'm using this ink at the bottom of the inkwell, okay, to create a very wispy dot and create a much more gradual tone. I can let's hit over here. I want this to be darker, okay? You just keep hitting this area with dots and it just gets darker and darker and darker, okay? So you can see how by doing it this way, you see how I have that gradation really going on in there, okay? So, and then if you look at the knuckle, this area here, the knuckle, okay, this area here is going to be much more darker or smoother. So I want to take this dot, this gray tone, and I want to pull it up into this area, okay? So you can see how I am creating that with a lot of small dots. Just pulling it up. So it helps give the knuckles more predominant. So that's another thing also, is you have to take you have to look like, I would say look at like older people with arthritis in their knuckles. And the predominant knuckles help create to make that a much more imposing fist. So I'm going to keep working on this. I'll be doing my stippling time-lapse video. It's going to be of Crimson here. I'll probably be working more on the fist over here. I'll be working, see I've got the hand here. This area right here, okay, where his chest is, I'll be hitting this much darker and then fading up. So like how this is a dark fading into light, this is a dark fading in, this is a dark fading in, this is all dark and then faded up. So that's how I'm going to be doing it. So, but I hope you enjoy it. Remember, we have today's a big deal. Dale Keown's Pit launches today, and I'm very curious as to how well Pit will do. So, hey everybody, I'm gonna keep working on this. You guys enjoy your day. Remember, life is stressful. It's about what you do to defeat that stress. Me, how do I defeat stress? I take it all one dot at a time.